The new regulations, it's not about a lot of people are thinking. They definitely are not interested to kill the idea to invest in Bali. They are trying to filter the people who are coming here as a tourist and coming here as an investors. That's why these regulations are coming, and that you shouldn't be scared of that. They want to protect their culture. They want to protect the rice fields. That's why these regulations are coming.
So investing in Bali is about the long-term relationship with the island. It's not just like a one-time thing and then you're off. This is why it's very important to do the business legally and with the right structure. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Unicorn Property Podcast. My name is Amelia and I'm here with Robert. In this podcast, we're going to talk about the differences of the areas in Bali, where you should invest in, the client's expectations versus the reality. We're going to also touch on the new regulations that people have been also talking about. And yeah, let's just get into it. All right, Robert, my first question to you would be, I've been quite curious about this. Why did you choose to live in Bali and work here as a foreigner especially?
Actually, I've been asked this question many times.
Yeah.
A lot of clients actually ask me, did I choose Bali because of the real estate, because of the opportunities that this market can bring? Not really. So when I initially came here, I wasn't really thinking about any financial freedom or anything that's related with my
Living in Bali.
Career growth. Yes, exactly. Nothing is related to that. So I believe I choose Bali same as most of the people who are living here. It's because of the culture and because of the uniqueness of the island by itself. And of course the people that living here. So they're amazing, like adorable people.
But okay, so it's more cultural than business related. So which area did you stay in at first?
Well, I stayed in Ubud at the beginning. I came to Bali actually at 2020, the first time, and it haven't changed a lot actually since that time. Many people says that, oh, the Bali is already unrecognizable, but probably those are the people who are coming here like 15 and 20 years ago. Obviously, as every country, every popular place, the Bali is developing, maturing, and it's very naturally changing. So first time when I came, I went to Ubud, and I straight away was pretty much living in Ubud for the first several months. And then I've been just traveling around Bali, renting out some places like for a few nights, but as a main hub, and my house was in Ubud.
In Ubud, so you wanted to come to Ubud specifically because you wanted like a healing, or because Ubud is related to like healing and just relaxing and off the grid?
Well, I wouldn't say that. So it was an initial idea about the healing, yoga and meditation. So I was far away from there.
Right.
However, yes, these tropical vibes, I would say this calm atmosphere overall. And I prefer mountains and I prefer jungles, waterfalls over the sea.
Do you have those in Latvia?
No.
Okay.
We don't have any of those. Well, we have the sea. We have a Baltic Sea over there. Yeah, for me, the Ubud was something like extremely unique because it's tropical place. It's slightly colder than, for example, Uluwatu areas and the south of the Bali in general. So, and also the beauty of the greenery around you, those jungles, waterfalls, everything is around. Yeah, so just within a 15 minutes ride. So I love that place and I still love it. So I'm living in Canggu right now because here is my business. So here is what I like. I do what I do.
Yeah.
I help people. So, and most real estate objects are here.
Yeah.
And the south of Bali. So this is basically the main hub where everything is happening right now.
So that being said, I think it would be very interesting if we talk about the differences of the areas in Bali.
we can start from Canggu, where we are right now, where we live and work. So this is the still main center of everything that is happening around.
What do you mean by main center?
So I would say the digital nomads, the real estate agencies, most of the developers, the head offices of the big companies are located particularly in Canggu areas. When I'm talking about the Canggu, it's like Canggu, Perenan, and the surrounding areas. Why you choose Canggu?
I chose Canggu because actually almost practically the same as your reason. I lived in Ubud for almost 3 years. Actually 3 years and a little bit more, and then I decided to move to Canggu because I agree with you that the business is here, especially for what we do. I'm not saying that Ubud is not good for the business at all, especially for villa business. I think villas do pretty well there if you have like super nice views in the jungles and the rice fields, because that's what all Ubud is about, right? But yeah, some people, actually more people are leaning towards the seaside, which is why they choose Canggu, and more people live in Canggu, so it's good for the business and entrepreneurs in general.
Yeah, regarding the Ubud, actually, it's very contradictory thing because most of the investors are not looking at the Ubud as the place to invest. And for me, it's surprisingly, because the Ubud is the heart of the island, where pretty much every single tourist that comes to Bali for a week or two, they're spending at least several days in Ubud. And the villas for the daily rent, obviously, we're talking about unique design villas. Unique views for sure. It has to be river, jungle, rice field views, preferably, or at least surrounded, right? So it's a lot of resorts over there, the villa compounds with the full service, with the beautiful massages. The best massages actually are in Ubud.
Yeah, I agree.
And the spas. So in case of resort has the services like this, it's outstanding. And obviously those places are very, very popular in between the tourists that are renting out daily. And the people are ready to pay for that. The people are ready to pay like hundreds of dollars per night.
Yeah.
So at the same time, investors, they're not looking at the Ubud as an investment spot, because everybody hears around only Canggu and Uluwatu, etc. And it makes me like a bit sad. And to be honest, I see that most of the developers actually also not focusing on Ubud. So they're focusing on the other areas because the demand. So my question is why the demand of the buying the property in Ubud is so low when the actually demand for the daily rent is quite high.
There's actually a big player in Ubud, like this developer. They built like lots and lots of villas in Ubud, and they always scout like lands close to the central, at least like I think maximum 20 minutes away.
The question how they're building.
How they're building, yeah, because in Ubud, we're not gonna start talking about the regulations there, because I would say like the regulations in Ubud for the land zoning and everything is different than the south part. But yeah, they're the big player there, and there's a lot of also French people that have invested in villas there, and they're performing pretty well actually, like 85% minimum, 85% on average occupancy rate. But these villas are like closer to luxurious, or like a mid level to higher end.
Yeah.
And they must have rice field views, or like just very good layout for daily rental business.
I actually heard different numbers from the management companies who actually renting those villas out, and it really depends on the concept of the villa that you have.
Yeah.
Not on the location at all.
Yeah.
Right? So if it's a unique villa.
Well, location is actually very important, but of course it's how you also execute the villa, right? How you build
right, but at the same time, Ubud is not only the city center, it's the surrounding areas, and it's quite big. And obviously, from any location, you will be able to find around something beautiful. There are so many temples, waterfalls, etc. So, as I said, like in Ubud particularly, the location is not the main factor. The main factor is the concept and the way how you're positioning your villa on the market. So in case if you have views, 5-star services, especially if you have if your villas are getting operated as also as a spa resort. These what makes the villa popular, really, really
But if
popular.
we're talking about like a standalone villa, I think people would still choose something that's closer to the central, because they enjoy like being able to walk to the central and just like do some, shopping for a couple of days, and perhaps later they can move something to
Yeah.
a more natural setting.
See, the Ubud is quite old, right? So
Yeah.
it's one of the first locations in Bali that been developing very, very actively. So at the same time, there was a lot of developers who built the cheap properties, like very, very like regular type properties. And right now the supply there is quite big as well. And there's not so many properties that are actually you would like to rent out, right? And those who are standing out, they are fully occupied always. They're always
And sometimes these
super
are like
expensive.
properties that are like very Balinese interior, because I think in Ubud people, older people like to stay, and they would love to feel more of a Balinese vibe, rather than like a more modern, tropical, figured, yeah.
Right, obviously the Ubud is not for the Mediterranean design villas.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Right, you need to understand the vibe and for whom you are building it. The people who are going to Ubud, they want to feel that vibe.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of Russian developers, for example, who are building this like very unique Scandinavian type minimalistic houses. Well, they will have troubles for sure, and
Ubud.
already has. Yes, that's correct. So I mean, like the people are not going to Ubud for this type of properties, right? Maybe they will have their client who will buy for personal use, but it's very, very niche product. It's definitely not made for ROI or any high occupancy, because the regular visitor who's just visiting Bali, as I said, a couple of weeks, 3 days going to Ubud with his spouse, wife, or the wife and kids, they're looking for something like truly unique. Yes, Balinese, right, but at the same time, very high end.
And where do you find these tropical Mediterranean villas?
Well-
in which area of Bali?
Those are locations closer to the beach, right?
Right.
Because the people wants to see white villas nearby the beach, somewhere nearby the ocean, sunsets. It's probably to someone it reminds Santorini, the Greece, so this Mediterranean vibes.
Uluwatu, right?
Correct. So that would be the Canggu, Peridances areas, and Uluwatu, of course, as well. The Uluwatu right now is booming.
Yeah.
Plenty of properties, but again, not so many that I would personally recommend, and I would invest my personal money.
In Uluwatu.
Correct, because still same amount of hundreds of developers that analyze the market completely wrong in the wrong way.
What do you mean
they-
by that?
They choose to build something cheap and regular type, and those villas looks absolutely the same as the
Yeah.
villa nearby, right? The people are not looking for this anymore. So the people are interested to find something that stands out, literally. So Uluwatu is doing really well in general.
I think Bingin specifically.
Bingin, of course. The Balangan also good for, I would say, longer term stay.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of people building there the houses where they're going to live. But the Bingin, if you're choosing like top touristic locations, that would be Bingin, Padang at the moment. And we can see how the trend is naturally shifting towards the Nyang Nyang beach. And later on, probably it's going to be the Lasti, Pandawa, and all those
like southern
right, southern
edge.
areas. However, right now it's too early, in my opinion. It's too early
It's too
for
early,
them.
yeah. But people
Right.
are looking at Nyang Nyang a lot these days because the prices of the properties are lower compared to Bingin, which is like the very central main area for now for Uluwatu. And I do think they need to fix the road first there. And what do you think about the water issue there? Do you think like with all these like developments going on, they will be able to keep up with the government?
Yeah, in my opinion, the water issue that everybody's talking about, it's not the main issue, to be honest. Like I haven't heard so far that someone would be struggling with the water issue. Like realistically, I only heard the rumors about that. The thing that bothers me the most is the traffic and obviously the way how the people are getting to Uluwatu from the main part of the island, right? So at this moment it's just a couple of roads. But I'm pretty sure that the government will work on it. And at the same time, there are so beautiful places. You have cliffs, you have wonderful sunsets, you have plenty of world level restaurants and the spas. So it's an amazing place.
5-star hotels.
Correct. Amazing place to choose for the investment and for someone for living as well. However, if I'm talking about myself personally, that would be the more West Island side. So I would say southwest, where we are now. And the next location after the Canggu and Peredan will be Sese, right? We see how many developers are building right now in Sese. And it's actually very unique about the Sese because the land there is already quite high price. Already the land has a very high price. It's pretty much the same as in Canggu, but there is nothing there yet, right? So there is no infrastructure yet as it's in Canggu.
You
but
can
the
already
land price,
find like super nice restaurants. Already.
Correct, but the reason why I'm saying that is because less cheap developments there. So as you can see, if you visited the Sisek recently, more and more like premium projects are coming there. So unique type, the better quality. So it's not going to be second Canggu, right? So the demand-wise,
I
right.
hope so.
But it's not going to be because developers who are building in Sisek right now, they learned from the previous mistakes. They learned from the competitors' previous mistakes. And this is the way how they see this area. And in my opinion, it's going to be the best location.
Yeah, we already see like some families living there long term for the beach, because they still have some rice fields there, and so they have like these views which is like very gorgeous and still very peaceful. But in terms of the surfers, they still love Uluwatu. My Brazilian client told me that we actually have the best waves there in Uluwatu. So I'm personally not a surfer, but him as an active surfer, he could confirm that. So it's really nice.
Yeah, Uluwatu has, as I also heard that Uluwatu has the best surfing spots. However, I'm also not the fan of it. I like watch, you know.
You like to watch, same.
Yeah, so
from Eco Beach.
We have a beautiful place between Eco Beach and Peredan Beach. There are a lot of bars going in a row, beachfront, and there you can watch the beautiful sunset and also the surfers. There, actually, recently they have the surfing competition. So yeah, I was there. Very nice food. I 100% guarantee that you will enjoy.
Right now, I see Sese as something that is closer to Sanur area, although Sanur is a more like Sese is quite a spacious place in itself. But Sanur is already very well developed with like a big road and like very well made infrastructure, well planned. There's also an icon mall where people tend to go to watch the sunset or just to have like movie nights there. I kind of hope that Sese would be something like Sanur, because we only have one Sanur at the moment, which is good, and which is why Sanur is very special in itself. And there's a lot of families who decided to stay there for long term, for years. And we've got actually a couple of requests for properties in Sanur for them to stay long term.
If we compare Sese and Sanur, I do believe that Sese will be something extremely different. To be honest, the only one common thing probably will be it's the beach walk promenade, right? That they're planning to build, and there's already a beautiful beach walk over there that you can just walk around, ride a bicycle. That's pretty much it. In my opinion, there are no similarities in between Sese and Sanur. Sanur is also one of the oldest areas. Also, Balinese people believe that it's a saint land. If someone is still trying to find the freehold options in Sanur, it's going to be extremely difficult. And the thing is that there is no free land anymore, pretty much. Everything is already built. So you either will find the old houses, either is going to be like very expensive or very tiny, right? So you need to definitely compromise if you are choosing the Sanur to purchase something, you definitely will need to compromise, because if you really want a spacious villa with a garden, it's going to cost you over $1 million.
Yeah, it depends on your budget, right?
Right. And most of the people, of course, who are looking at Sanur can afford that, because these are the people like 50 plus.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place for elderly people and for
kids as well.
As a retirement house, I would say. For the kids, right? For the families, of course. Yeah, that's amazing. There's a lot of places where to walk around.
Yeah, what I was saying about Seseh and Sanur was more about the infrastructure. Like, cause in Seseh we now see like the road is like very nice and wide, just like Sanur. So if we compare that like with Canggu right now, it's similar but different. But I guess Seseh is like in the middle, in between.
How to say? When God created Canggu, he wasn't really thinking about the about the infrastructure. To be honest, because it's nobody was expecting that this kind of like a city, right? It's district, but it's like entire city. There are so many houses and so many people living there. It will appear from nothing in such a short time period, right? We can see that the Peredan, infrastructure-wise and the building-wise, is already much better, right? And Sesek will be even better. I'm pretty sure about that. We already can see how different is it.
So now, do you think it's more about the numbers or the lifestyle, or these has to complement each other?
Well, for sure, most of the people who are purchasing property in Bali are looking for the property for the mixed use. Everybody choosing with their emotions, always, because this is the emotional purchase. It's like to buy a Ferrari, right? Nobody's buying Ferrari because
they need it.
Yeah, very reasonable asset, right? So to have it, and it has always a negative ROI, in case if we're not talking about some like very rare collections. But obviously, the real estate market in general, and especially if it's a growing market, you have to understand that at some point the ROI will go down and the market will stabilize. There will be enough supply, the demand will stabilize as well. So it's happening naturally everywhere. So it happened in Dubai, it happened in Thailand. The thing is that the people who are just running after the high ROIs usually are not getting it, because they're too blind to see the reality. They're too obsessed about to get the highest numbers, and they're actually not looking at the core. What's actually will be profitable. They're not looking forward. And obviously, if your expectations are too high, it's very easy to fail.
Right. So now, do you think it's more about the lifestyle or about the numbers, or is it a balance?
Yes, focus is shifting. Definitely, we see how many clients are choosing right now the villas for the mixed use. And it's more emotional purchase rather than pure investment. Yeah. Right? Because the people still want to feel them inside the villa. So want to, even if it's once in a year, couple of weeks, they want to come and enjoy this vibes, and that's their own place, right? And especially right now during the unstable situation in the world, global crisis and all these things, what happened in the Middle East, right? So the people want to have some rescue, have some second home, probably.
Although at first they would start looking at these villas for their numbers. They would eventually, I realize, they would pick something that is emotionally relatable. So
for those who are picking purely for the investment purposes, if it's not a professional investor who was doing that before, they usually fail only because they're focusing on the wrong things. They're thinking that they calculated everything, right? But they don't understand the true value of the properties, right? So why
in Bali,
yes, and why the people are picking these properties. Who will be the end client, right? Who will rent out those properties? And is it going to be strategy of the daily rent, or it's better to rent it out monthly, right? So this is what I feel my responsibility is to advise the people.
Yeah.
So how to choose the right strategy, right? So because not all the villas are designed and meant to be vacation villas for the daily rent. So it really depends. However, everybody's hunting those
numbers and stats
numbers
and data.
Exactly, but not everybody's reaching, only because they don't understand the core, how to invest and what to pay attention on. And obviously for those who are buying for the mixed use, they always win. They always win, because no matter how the market is going to perform, they're having always the house where they can enjoy with their family or friends coming to Bali, and they can enjoy the vibes. So they're always winning in this situation.
Because you don't get affected as much, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So this is about the expectations and versus reality, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. Can you share like some most interesting client requests versus expectations and what they ended up getting?
Yeah.
I think that's going to be very interesting.
Well, I would say people are looking for super high numbers always.
Yeah.
They thinking that they're right now going to invest $150,000 and they're going to get their 15% ROI. And of course, if they go to the developer very beautifully showing that in their presentations. However, it's still possible. It's still possible. We saw that.
Because there's a few factors, like the management, the location, the design of the villa, the price of the villa.
That's absolutely
the facilities,
correct. And I would say the management is the key. And the developer understood from the beginning how they're going to position this villa on the market, how they're going to promote it. And if they already have a management company before the handover.
Yeah.
So it's actually a very good factor, because they already choose the strategy, what they would like to go.
I do think it really also helps that they've been to Bali before, so that when they think of purchasing a property, they don't come from a place of investment and passive income, and it's just about the numbers. Because we figured that, because there's a lot of Australians that bought properties here in Bali, right? And most of them, if not like 95% of them, they've already been to Bali, and they want to find a mixed-use property for themselves, which means like it's more emotional also than just the numbers. And it always works out for them.
Only because they buying the property for themselves primarily, right? Even if they're planning to rent it out 90% of the time, it's still primarily their purchase.
Right.
So they want to have a second home. They want to have the dream villa in Bali.
Yeah.
So everybody's dreaming about.
Yeah.
Right. At the same time, you have to always understand that you cannot get 100% both. In some cases, the preferences might be controversial, right? Because sometimes what you are choosing for the long-term living and staying with your family does not really work well for the daily rent. So then probably you have to choose another strategy and find, if you already purchased that villa, you can find the right client. So you have to position your villa as the second home, for example, and rent it out for a bit longer term for the same families and the people who are staying in Bali for a longer term. It's not a regular tourist.
Yeah.
Right. So it's very important to understand that from the early beginning.
Yeah. And we see that the prices of the properties in prime areas, let's say Canggu, that's the easiest example. Now it's starting from around 200,000 US dollars, and that would be, well, slightly less than that, but that would be one bedroom and off plan, right? But that would be in like a very prime central Canggu. The clients that are coming in, and especially when it's going to be their first investment in Bali, they expect for something that's like less, which is around 150K, 100K. Do you feel like it's still relatable, or?
Yes, definitely. So a lot of people still believe that it is very possible to invest a little and get a lot, right? So the expectations are always, even if it's purely for the investment, they say, I would like to have a big garden, I would like to have a big pool. But you have to generally understand how does it work in case if you're looking for the prime location, you have to understand that the land there is already cost a fortune.
Yep.
So if you want a garden and a big pool, it's definitely going to be above the average, villa. And the price range of these villas are starting from, I would say, 300K already in the prime locations. If in case if you have budget lower than that, so then that means that you will have to compromise on something.
Yep.
Or either way, you can ask your friends to join you of your investment journey and invest together.
Yeah.
So this is what I usually recommend to do. Because if you have just 100K, I would say just save it for now.
Yeah.
Because you might, invest in a very wrong place.
Yeah, for example,
That's why.
the things that you would compromise can be the location, can be the quality if it's in prime location.
Correct.
Can be the size of the land, and
I'm always advising the people to think if some developer is offering or some agent is offering something extremely cheap, why is it so cheap? Why does it has the price below the market average, right? So that means the developer had to compromise on something. Maybe they are not straightforward to you, but they had to.
About
in
some
case if it's a
costs.
prime location, right, they probably optimized their costs on the construction materials.
yeah,
So whoever knows how it's going to end, okay, you might use that villa for 6 or 12 months and then you will realize why.
exactly. So we have to also think about like the long-term maintenance of
Correct.
these villas. Although maybe now it's cheap for, let's say, 100,000 US dollars, close to the beach, but you wouldn't know like how much you would end up spending on the maintenance part of this villa.
But it's not about even the spending, it's about the hustle. Like
Yeah.
just a lot of
I
hustle
think
and
both.
headache.
Time and effort,
Correct.
and just also the money.
And nobody wants, the villa that is cracking even. Like nobody wants a leaking villa to rent it out. And obviously, as soon as you will renovate it, you will have to shut it down. So you will block the dates on the booking platforms. You will have to do it.
In today's market, what villa would you buy and where?
Well, I would say that can be any area that we mentioned above. It can be Sanur, it can be Uluwatu, it can be Seseh, Perenan, it can be Ubud. The only thing is that when you're buying the villa, as I said, you have to understand what the strategy will be like of your investment. Is that going to be for the mixed use or only for the investment? Is that going to be for the long-term rentals or for the short-term purely? Then you have to calculate everything. And according to that, you have to choose the design and the concept of the villa. As I said, even the villa in Ubud can perform really well if you choose the right concept.
Yeah.
But if you will ask me potentially what I would buy right now, that would definitely be Seseh. Yeah, as I mentioned before,
But for the long-term model or for the short-term model?
I would say this is very, very soon. This place will be very similar to Canggu and Perenan in terms of the demand. In terms of the quality, it's going to be so much better. In quality, infrastructure. So if you buy off-plan right now, in 14 months, maybe slightly longer, it's going to be delivered.
Yeah.
And this is the exact time when you're supposed to be in the market, when you're supposed to have ready villa. It's not going to be such a huge demand yet. And at the same time, you will have a villa in a prime location that is very highly developing at the moment.
And I've seen some off-plan already listings in Seseh or Mungu areas. The quality is really good, and the price, I would say it's close to the Canggu prices, but still more slightly lower, which will increase definitely in a few years, if not next year.
The only thing is, as I said, match the expectations with the reality. This is probably our job, and this is the hardest part of the job.
Yeah.
Right? Because the people are buying the dream,
Right.
and sometimes they don't know how expensive can be that dream, and the way how they will be able to manage to downgrade their expectations if they're not able to afford, what they are expecting.
And your agent should be able to tell you all the reality of the market, right?
Correct.
Like, the regulations, where you should build your villa, in which zoning is your villa, and if daily rental is possible there, and yeah, all these things. I think an agent should be also honest in serving the clients, so that they will end up buying a property that will be an asset instead of a liability.
Yeah, that's of course correct. That's why I said before many times, you need to understand with whom you're working with.
Yeah.
So you need to choose the truly right agent that you can trust.
What's a right agent? What's the one?
Well, I would say it's not the one who is following you up all the time, even though it can be the one, but it's not the only one criteria, right? It has to be like very honest. He has to tell you the pros and cons of every single action and give you the choice what to choose. Because in case if this is a choice only of Villa 1 or Villa 2, and he's trying to pitch some sort of project and tell you only the best things about this project or about this villa, this is not right? Because
And it's not realistic.
so you don't need actually hundreds of options to choose, right? You need just a few, but from the right agent,
Right.
who will pick for you initially, and then he will tell you exact pros and cons of each of them.
Yeah.
Very honest. It's only rational and emotional choice of the client, right? We can only help him by giving all the information.
Yeah. First step is just to find the right one, right? And how
Correct.
I would suggest that the clients find the right one is by having the first meeting with the agent. Just ask away any questions and see if the agent answers honestly, and if there is any like downsides to the market that they're willing to just share. Because when it's all positive and it's all rainbows, guaranteed that it's not the real one, because it's the truth is, of course, there's something that's you don't want to know ideally, but they have to tell you, which is why they're honest.
Correct.
And it's the real one.
But at the same time, the reality does not really work in that way, because if you would probably buy a villa in Bali, you'd probably contact several agents at the same time, just to have a bigger choice.
Yeah.
And how do you actually know initially with whom it's better to have a call? Like having a call with everyone, it's a lot of time spending.
Definitely.
It's obviously. However, without the personalized call, for me, for example, it's really difficult to understand with what sort of person I'm communicating, what sort of person I'm dealing with.
Yeah, what they want.
What they want, how can I help? And at the same time, it's hard for them to understand that agent is the one that I would like to work with.
I think most of them are pretty guarded. This is just the initial impression that they think like realtors or real estate agents are there to sell something, but actually a good agent just helps you to like truthfully find something that is worth your time and worth your money on the island.
Yeah. How many like agents who are completely honest and not trying to sell something,
Yeah.
I don't know many, to be honest.
But actually, that's the reason why you work with an agent, not directly with the developer.
That's the reason why the people don't like probably to work with agents, because they're quite annoying and they know that the agents are always trying to close the deal, money oriented, etc.
I think the most difficult part for even the clients is to choose the ones after, let's say, we visited 5 properties and we picked 2 properties that they super like. And they have to pick between these 2 properties that are, let's say, one is very strong in their design, they feel so homey, the property feels so homey, and then the other one is super good in the numbers. I would say it goes back to the goal. What is it that they actually want off of this? What is it that they expect? And then we can, based on that, we can align this decision based on what they expect, what they feel like it's the truth for them, and what feels right moving forward.
So I had the situations actually when the client wasn't really honest with me and wasn't really open, so I could not understand some hidden objections and the needs. We actually chose not the right properties initially. And then when he had to choose from 2, I realized that actually none of them suits. And at that moment, I offered him a 3rd option, which he actually bought. This is very, very biggest message. I'm always honest with clients, so I'm trying to give as many information as possible. I'm trying to dig what's happening in every single development company from the inside. Getting the insights very important, that can affect my decision to offer this property to the clients or not. And I'm completely honest with them. Yeah, where is better to invest, where do not.
Yeah.
So if I would invest, would I invest in this property? Would I buy this property for the personal use, or to rent it out or not? So this is my personal opinion. When I say personal, it's still quite objective, because it's like professional opinion. I experience a lot, right? So I saw a lot of different situations. I know with what to compare. I saw not just a few properties, but hundreds of them. This is how it works. And how to choose the right one.
So this third property that they ended up picking was more aligned with what they wanted?
No, not really. So this is initially was planned to be a purely investment property. But when I saw their eyes when they just visited the property, stepped inside, and they saw all this furniture, and they sat down at the sofa, and he was like, oh, actually I can work from here, because I can work remotely. I can actually work from here, because they had a beautiful terrace over there. And at that moment I understood that I started to calculate how much this property can actually bring the value, because I see that they truly likes it, how much it can bring in case if they were planning to rent it out, for example, monthly, how much this property can bring them the return on the investment when they are not here. And after the calculations, I showed them the numbers were a little bit lower than, for example, some properties in the super prime locations and unique design, but not so cozy, not so spacious, right? Then I just gave him pros and cons, because another option was purely for the investment with a proven track records. And he said, yes, like everything, like my mind tells me, take that one, because it's already ready business that brings the money. However, in the end of the day, I know that he will choose the first option, because it's more emotional. He has a lot of different investments all around the world. It's not the only one source of income. So he was ready for that. He was. But
you were also comparing these properties side to
correct.
side with pros and cons.
Pros and cons always.
Finally, he was able to see which one is more relatable at this point of his life, and like what would be more worth it for his money, right?
Both of them were worth for his money. That's for sure.
No, but the cons and the pros and cons kind of helped him to kind of like have this data side to side and be able to compare like objectively.
Yeah, when the people are trying to pick only by logic, it's not always the right choice, honestly, because...
Not always.
Not always. The logic usually leads us to the wrong direction, very often.
Really?
Like, so...
The females would disagree.
Yeah. So let's talk about the new regulations. So how do you think why the government is doing that, what they are doing? And what was the initial idea behind it, and how to deal with that, right? What the people are supposed to do, how to react.
Let's talk about the new regulations. What do you think about that, and where do you think the government is going with this?
Well, initially, before to talk about the regulations, we need to understand initial idea behind these regulations and all the regulations that actually government usually implementing. So every single government, especially Indonesian and Balinese, they are trying to prevent the chaos and make some centralized control system. In Bali, this is the new market. This is a highly growing market, and nobody was caring about that before. So that's why there's a lot of illegal buildings, illegal developments. The people were building on the green land zone, destroying the rice fields before. We're managing the properties illegally, we're not paying taxes. So we need to understand where the government is initially coming from. So they're not trying to restrict, forbid something. The market is maturing, they're trying to centralize it a little bit and make the instruction actually for this, how you need to act.
I mean, in a way, they had done that in the past, but I think it was easier for them to not follow these rules. But now I think they're a little bit more aggressive with applying these rules and kind of like getting rid of these villas that are not operating legally. And I think it's on the brighter side, we're moving towards Bali that is more exclusive. Not random investors who will not follow the rules can get in, because now we're more selective as to who can come in and put their money in the right way on the island, and what kind of business you're gonna run. Is it gonna be beneficial to the local or to the environment and to the infrastructure itself, which is, I believe, is very important for a environment that is more prime in general. So we're going that one. I think it's very exciting.
Well, again, the new regulations, it's not about how a lot of people are thinking like, well, government is crazy, new regulations came out of nowhere.
Yeah, people are panicking.
And everybody's panicking, doesn't know what to do. There are plenty of sofa experts actually who are like recording multiple shorts, videos on Instagram, and you can see new regulations, government forbids something, government restricts something, etc., etc. But nobody actually explains why, what's the reason behind it, and how it's going to work in the future, and what you're supposed to pay attention on, and that you shouldn't be scared of that. So the new regulations, the market is maturing, it's very natural. It's completely natural. So they definitely are not interested to kill the development. Absolutely. They're not interested to cut the entire world from the idea to invest in Bali, obviously. But they're trying to filter the people who are coming here as a tourist and coming here as an investors.
Yeah.
So, because the Bali, like, this is a very small island, very limited amount of land. It cannot fit so many tourists.
It's
more
not
than
limitless.
It's not limitless. Like Dubai, for example, is expanding endlessly. The Bali is like a very small. They want to protect their culture. They want to protect their legacy. They want to protect the rice fields. That's why these regulations are coming, that they become more stricter. They always been there, actually, but nobody was talking about them. But right now, government is just a little bit stricter with that.
That's why we see, like, in prime areas, the Balinese only lease their land and not selling the lands, because they believe their land, first of all, the lands are sacred, it's of their families, and second of all, it's also about the value that these lands bring for their family, you know? It's definitely a much better decision to just lease the land instead of selling it and giving it like forever and it being owned by somebody else.
So, for example, you probably heard that the government canceled some of the key BLI codes for the foreigner owning companies, right? So, why they're doing that? Because these codes, these licenses were pretty much available before. Everybody were opening the companies were like fictive companies that were not operating. They were not doing any business in Bali. There were no investment in these companies.
It's a shell.
It's a shell completely. So to make the kitas is the way how you can stay in Bali for a longer period legally without doing this visa runs, etc. So, but the kitas is actually for those people who are investing in Bali or working in Bali. So initially that was the meaning of this visa and for this permit. However, right now there are plenty of people who has these visas and pretty much it's illegal what they're doing. But before that, nobody was tracking that. Nobody was caring very much about that. But right now, the government took over it. So right now, they're starting to track it. It was easiest way, instead of checking like all those hundreds of thousands of companies, they just decided to prevent, of course, that the people will start to open the new ones. They decided to close some of the KBLI codes. And right now, those businesses who are actually operating, who actually has some sort of assets, villas, investments, the fair investors, right, which initial intention was to invest in Bali, and that's why they opened the company, not just to have a visa and stay here, for a long period. And this is why it's getting done. And obviously, if you really want to do the business in Bali, if you really want to invest, you have to open the company. You need to, it's going to be...
follow the structure.
Yes, you have to open the company. You need to, of course, pay to the agent or to the notary to establish the company. There will be extra fees for the licenses, etc. But then your business will be fully legal. And in that case, you will be able to pay taxes here, not in your country. Because mostly in your country, if you're from Australia or Europe, some European country, those taxes are much higher than here, right? So no matter how much the regulations are changing, I can be honest, like I'm coming from Europe, it's still far from European regulations, and whatever happens there, like that's why probably I moved. It's much more understandable, much more flexible market. This is why I truly believe that within the next 5-10 years, Bali become even more famous in terms of the investment and of course as a touristic destination.
Yeah, and that being said, I think before investing in Bali, we must think about, so investing in Bali is about the long-term relationship with the island. It's not just like a one-time thing and then you're off, because it's a hands-off investment. Your management company takes care of it, and then you're just like out there working, let's say, and just staying in the villa for a couple of weeks or months. But it's actually a long-term relationship between you and the island. This is why it's very important to do the business legally and with the right structure. And just to wrap things up, what are you excited about in the market?
So I'm really excited about the new regulations. I'm really excited about this type of filter that the government is trying to do. They're trying to rid off from the people who are just coming here doing a mess in different ways, right? In different ways. They're trying to rid off from illegal developments. They're trying to rid off from the cheap developments that are not safe, that will be collapsing in a couple of years, right? And those developers will be somewhere else. As I said before, the market, the real estate market is always like the demand comes, then supply comes, then there is a correction, then the market is maturing. This is a very natural way how everything is happening. If you would ask me, for example, if it's going to slow down or go down within the next 5 years, I don't think so. Maybe in like 15 years, yes, you will probably not going to see the 15% or ROI anymore. But again, so far we see stable 10-12% ROI still, and it's not going down very much, right? So even the villas that we recently got in Canggu, they're showing over the 15%, 17-18% real ROI, not the projections, but the real ROI from the secondary market. And actually it's a resale price already. And and we were calculating that percentage from the resale price, which is amazing. Again, there are like cons as well. The villa has shorter lease terms, etc. So this is very important to understand. That's why it's not only about the numbers, it's about the relationships between the people. And this is probably why, again, I came to Bali and I'm staying here, and I'm happy that the Bali still keep this quality people, and I can meet amazing people every single day. Whoever comes in Bali.
Yeah, and I think with these limitations as well, we're expecting that they can maintain the ROI with these limitations, because we're now kind of like stopping all these like random developments to just like to operate, and not actually bringing something that's like the meat into the investment in the real estate industry here in Bali. So yeah, I'm very excited about where Bali is going and how it's transforming, and cannot wait to see in 5 years what this Bali has to offer. So thank you for watching today's episode. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Amelia.
Comment down below what you would like for us to talk about next.